Hey everyone, welcome to our first voice enhanced lecture. Mr. Prince here. I wanted to walk you through a few things before we get into notes. Uh, First thing, syllabus and your tentative day-to-day weekly calendar. If you have not read that yet, you got to do that today. Go ahead and read that stuff because we will be having um, a our first formative on our syllabus. All right, so know your ins and outs of the syllabus. This is important because it kind of explains the structure of the class, what to expect, yada yada. Second thing, let's talk about our agenda for today. Actually, before I get to that, I'm gonna back out. You'll learn very quickly. I'm an open book, so I'm gonna let you see my whole screen. I don't care. Let's hop over to our Google Classroom really quick. So if we look at our Google Classroom, if you're period 4, period 5, it's going to look a little different. Two sections of psychology. But so yesterday, actually I'm recording. I usually do my prep the day before, so you won't see an updated version. So right now I'm recording at 2:25 p.m. Anyways, Tuesday, what you guys did was all I did was respond to Flipgrid videos. Real easy day for you. Read the syllabus, easy. Um, and I want to jump over to our weekly calendar. If you guys haven't saved this yet, save it. Check this, I'd say, uh, pretty often because it's going to give you an idea. I'm going to change this quite frequently too, so don't ever take this. Take this with a grain of salt if we're not on that day already. So Wednesday, what I have for today is you need to create an about you Flipgrid and respond to two others. If you're the first person posting, there won't be two to respond to, so you gotta wait a little bit. Um, After you create an about you Flipgrid, instructions are on there. Then you have to get your Unit 1 Learning Target Note Guide, and you're watching and taking notes on this. So you could be halfway on that already. Anyways, here's what your Learning Target Guide will look like. So I want to run you through this a little bit. Do not copy and paste. All responses must be in your own words. This isn't to be a jerk to you. It's not to make your life harder. It's that you won't learn anything if you don't put something in your own words. You know that. If you've ever copied and pasted something, then you realize that, oh yeah, I didn't learn anything by copy and pasting that thing. Maybe you read it, you learned a little bit, but you learn it a lot better if you put that stuff into your own words first. All the learning target guides are going to have this little box at the top. What this box is it's our learning targets 1A/B. We're only going to be doing 1A today. And then the module in the textbook. So module is like synonymous with chapter for psychology. So chapter 2 in the textbook. And then we'll have a formative on 1A and B next week. You would type in your score. So they're going to be out of different amounts every time. You got to make sure you get more than 70% or better. So type that in once you got your formative score because we don't keep track of that. I do, but it's really annoying to find if you don't write down your own score. So please don't make me do extra work. And then confidence level. This will help you think about what should I study when we get to our summative. And if you don't remember, if you haven't read the syllabus yet, a summative could be anything from short answer, long answer, so like an essay, a project. I could ask your guys' input on group projects. I get a lot of people that say group projects kind of suck, especially if it's going to be online. So I'm kind of leaning against not doing a group project. Presentations, you could do a screencastify like I'm doing right now. Like the possibilities are endless. So I'll get feedback from you guys on that. But we're only going to be going through two things today in our notes. So it's define psychology and name a few ways the field of psychology contributes to society and what processes they use. So how does psychology help us? What do they do? Let's start off now with who I am. I'm going to learn about who you are through your About You Flipgrids. Oh, geez, I didn't get through the agenda. All right, well, I keep side railing. Anyways, let's debrief that Flipgrid activity before you learn about me. I know you're dying to learn about me, but debriefing that Flipgrid activity. So I asked you guys to do two truths and a lie. So here's my kind of little speech, my little hook to make you a little more interested in what psychology is. You guys were asked to come up with two truths and a lie. And a lot of you maybe just felt awkward and got it done really quick, but some of you, I'm sure, put a lot of effort into thinking, what could I do to trick somebody into believing something about me that is not true? There's a lot of psychological processes behind that. And one of them I'd like to spell out is you have to think of the other. So, who is perceiving this? How can I trick this other into believing what I have to say? So, there's a lot of different things. Everyone's different. And this goes into another conversation of what's nature and nurture. Maybe you guys have heard these terms before, nature and nurture. Nature and nurture. So, something like, are we born like a blank slate? And then all of our experiences shape who we are, right? Biology has nothing to do with it. We were not predetermined to be anything. When we were born, we just had experiences and we learned things, and that shapes who we are, what our personalities are, our beliefs, our values, blah, blah, blah. Or are we born predestined? Does it, like, no matter where we are born in the world, would we be the same person no matter what, in the same circumstances? If we were from a third world country or from a first world country, we'd be the same person. Or just from a completely different cultural background, would we be the same person? So that's this whole battle. And now what you guys were thinking about this, is what how could I believe this? Because you're kind of just assuming, oh, I'm kind of like the average person. What could I do to trick myself into believing? So a lot of us will use the other, but just in place of ourselves. But some of you took that a step further and thought about, well, I'm a little weird. I'm not, I wouldn't really base that. I wouldn't really base my lie on what I would believe is a lie. Maybe you guys thought about the average person. What would the average person believe? Psychology is about thinking about all the certain possibilities of human behaviors, feelings, thoughts. How do they impact society? What can we do to improve society based on our knowledge of people's feelings, behaviors, and thoughts? Let's go back to me now. Can't wait to show you my Doge. This is Ollie. As you can see, he hurt his sweet little paw. So I had to smear some peanut butter on this, what is this called? TV tray? And because he's really rambunctious. Anyways, the reason he hurt his little paw is this dude, well, this dude, I let him outside, and whenever he gets back inside, he gets zoomies, and he sprinted down our stairs. We live in a split level. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of like two sets of stairs. So he's got to like whip a Yui when he goes down the first flight of stairs, and it's hardwood. So he whipped it. I hear him just like, you know, eat linoleum and then try to run down the second flight of stairs, and then he ate carpet on the way down the second time. Um, and it was really loud, and I was laughing because he's a big idiot. And I came downstairs and I just see speckles of blood. I'm like, oh no, this dude actually hurt himself. So he tore out this little dangly thing, if you can see it right here, little dangly toe. Um, we had to get that pulled the next day by the vet, and it was disgusting and awful, and I feel terrible for him. But he's a trooper. He's fine now. He's 1.5 right now, little cutie. This is my family dog, Eli. He's full energy. My mom feeds him too much, so now he's a little sausage. And I grew up with him, so I freaking love that dude. And you want to know who I love even more? My girlfriend. Just kidding, me. I love myself. Just kidding. That's my girlfriend, Amy. That is me with long hair. If you had me in 12th grade econ, I'd probably look more like this. I chopped off all my hair. Some people are mad at me for it. I freaking love it because it's low maintenance. I feel sorry for you girls with long hair. This is my sister. We are clinking together apple juice, if you're wondering what that is. And these are my roommates. I have 4 roommates. Well, I'm lying because there's at least 10 people on this picture, but this is kind of what it feels like to live in my house, especially if we're all using the kitchen at once. All my roommates are old friends of mine. We kind of have, I don't know, we got a pretty good relationship. I freaking love my life. Live with four of my best friends. I highly suggest doing it unless you don't think your friends would be good roommates when you get out of high school. Anyways, let's talk about our first learning target. I can define psychology and its role in life. Go to Google Classroom right now. Make sure you have your Unit 1 learning target guide open. I need to talk to you guys about something really quick, and it's that the district says with this weird circumstance in life, we're not supposed to like bombard you guys with content. I know this first video is going to be a little longer than most of my videos, but it's like a bunch of intro stuff, housekeeping, how's this class working, blah blah blah. That's why this video is long. Don't worry, it's not going to be as long in the future. Um, let's see. So yeah, we're slimming our content. We're trying not to make you guys do as much work as if you were in school. That's a good thing for you guys. I guess kind of a good thing for teachers too, but we have to recreate so much stuff for you guys. So it's honestly a lot more prepping, a lot less actual teaching. But I want to give you guys a couple pointers while you're listening. Make sure you're active listening. I'm sorry if I get boring, but psychology is freaking interesting, so I doubt it's going to happen too often. Pause, take notes. Like we have this freedom now. Since you're watching a video, you can pause this sucker, get your notes down. Um, and then modules in the textbook, like I showed you on your learning target guide earlier in this video. After you're done watching this video, go over to your textbook and skim it. Have you ever heard a high school teacher tell you that? Anyways, go to the textbook, skim it. If something catches your eye in this textbook, I'm flipping through right now. It's freaking interesting. Read up on it because we can't do depth with the circumstance we're in right now. I'm doing it really baseline stuff. Um, Stuff gets so much more interesting if we had the time, and I highly recommend you guys, if something catches your eye while you're skimming the textbook after you watch these videos, keep reading through it. Like it's freaking awesome. Maybe it's just me and I'm biased because I studied college psychology. Anyways, let's talk about what psychology is. The word psychology, first, psych, that's the mind. Ology, you hear these in a lot of big words, but it's the study of. So we got a lot of study of words. But psychology, we are studying the mind. But we came up with a new definition of it, a more modern definition of it. It's still simplistic, and there's probably a lot longer of a definition for it on Google, but it's basically the study of behavior and mental processes. All right, so we're studying people's behavior and what they're thinking. And this is a combination of a lot of disciplines. This isn't just social studies. This is science. This is health. You'll realize that very quickly. In my Psych 2 class, we're going over biology of the eye. But biology units are pretty scarce, but we need to just know that stuff so that when we're talking about certain phenomenon, we can reference as to why these phenomenon happening. That might not make sense now, but don't worry, it will. Here's a few things we study in psychology. So brain, central nervous system, how people learn. Um, Learning has a lot to do with memory. Memory has a lot to do with forgetting. We're studying personalities, people with disorders. How can we help them? Sensations. Um, how do we explain sensations? When I eat a strawberry and I taste a flavor, and then you eat the same strawberry, and that's kind of weird, but then you taste a flavor, how do we know it's the same thing? How do we know it's the same exact experience we're having? There's no way to compare that. That's a psychological phenomenon, right? That's something psychologists would study. What's the use of that? Well, there's a lot of different uses, but I can't cover it now. Consciousness. All right, so some people, when you hear people talk about being subconscious, right? Well, we know unconscious, right? You're just not there. Your brain isn't aware of itself. Subconscious, that's a really interesting thing in psychology. How can we be sub aware? We'll go over that. Development. So, what are the stages of development in a human's life? What are the capacities that it has? What are its capabilities? What can and can it not do yet? At your stage in life right now, there's some things your brain literally can't do yet. I think for guys, we don't fully develop what's called our frontal lobe until we're 26. Girls, you get it way sooner than we do. You're lucky, but that means guys are way worse at planning. Frontal lobe helps with planning. Maybe that's why I get so many more late responses from guys. But don't worry, guys, I do it too. All right, social interactions. Um, I studied mostly sociology in college. Psychology was my minor, but social interactions. This is you will act differently in social situations than you would by yourself. Why is that? Intelligence, thinking, and language. These are huge concepts. Language, especially. Where would we be if we didn't have language? Right? How would we think? When you guys think, you think in your language, right? How would we think if we didn't have language? Well, it's pretty freaking crazy if we didn't. There's a study we'll go over later in this class that talks about a girl that was abused and deprived of language for the first, it was either 6 or 13. It's been years since I studied this, but 6 or 13 years of her life. And because she didn't have language, um, she has like permanent cognitive damage, but she has made great strides. We'll talk about that later. All right, psychology in college. I'm one of these statistics. It's the second most popular college major. I'm going to post these slides if I didn't mention that yet, so you guys can look at this more in depth if this interests you. But on the outer ring is kind of like the big careers, and then it kind of gets smaller and smaller. So go look at that at your leisure because there's a lot of career opportunities. Why am I teaching? Well, um, I like relationships. That's why I do this job. I like relationships and helping people. So I thought teaching would be a really good fit for me. Anyways, how do psychologists answer questions about human behavior? They think real hard about it. No, what they actually do is they use a scientific method to make sense of feelings, behaviors, and mental processes, aka thoughts, of people. Okay, so that should finish off your learning target guide. That's all you need to know so far. I appreciate the attention. I'm sorry this video is so long. I promise not to do this to you in the future. And I won't be doing voiceovers for every single learning target guide. We'll do some activities to get some of those learning targets out of the way. And I'm sure you'll appreciate that too because I don't like hearing myself talk, and you might, but I'm sure a lot of you don't. So I'm going to end this little video lecture with a roast on myself, and have a great Wednesday, y'all. Peace.